REKT podcast is brought to you by Honey Miner. Want to start mining but never had the technical skills or time? Honey Miner is the answer. Honey Miner is a one-click install mining software that downloads directly to your computer and earns you Bitcoin. No more writing scripts or configurations. Just download the desktop app and start mining immediately. What are you waiting for? Go to honeyminer.com and start earning Bitcoin while you sleep today. That's honeyminer.com, on Twitter at GetHoneyMiner, and Telegram at t.me/honeyminer.
My name is Mr. Fucking Backwards, and this is REKT.
Hello and welcome to REKT podcast. I am still Bunchu Betts, joined today by our other two wonderful hosts. Cynthia, how are you?
I'm great.
You're wonderful as always. And obviously we always have he plays a REKT character on TV. Chamber, how are you?
I am not doing so well today. A lot of bleeding alts today.
Your favorite
extra wrecked.
And we have a very special guest with us today, Mr. Backwards. How are you, man?
Yeah, what can I say? I feel a bit extra to wrecked chill. Like, yeah, no, it's like, no, I had a nice weekend, a little bit of a rough Sunday, so. Yeah, today is, it's a bit of a mess, but I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Rough Sunday as in, like, partying a little too hard?
Yeah, I got invited at a new friend's place to organize a barbecue and went on way too long, but we had plenty of fun.
I hear you there. I just got back. That's a good segue into the story I wanted to tell. So I went to a bachelor party this weekend, and I feel like, first of all, bachelor parties have totally changed since, like, when our parents and stuff grew up. Like, bachelor parties are now, like, you need a month of vacation. They start on a Tuesday and they end the Sunday after.
It's not just one night anymore.
Like,
that,
yeah, so I went Thursday and I got home yesterday. So it's just it's a mess of a time. But I thought I was a real genius when I left, and I have like a push to start car with the keys that as long as the keys are in range, the car will start, right? And so I hate traveling with my keys because at the end of these parties, I'm still drunk and I'm like, okay, let me just throw all my shit in a bag and get the hell out of here. So I can't wait to go home. So I get to the airport and I'm like, I don't have my keys. So I'm thinking to myself, was I really that forced? Like, did I have the foresight to leave my keys in Newark Airport in my car so that I didn't have to bring them? I sure hope so. Otherwise, my keys will stay here in Charlotte and I will not be able to get home. So I had no brain cells left after this weekend, and
Wait,
was just
Charlotte is a city, is it?
Yes.
Okay, otherwise it would sound so weird. No, okay.
So I had the moment of truth when I finally got back to my car. I'm like, okay, let's see. I get in my car and I hit the start button, and thank God my car started, and the keys were in the center console.
Oh, lucky you.
Yeah, that was almost that would have been a perfect real life REKT, but
that's actually happened to me. I had spent an entire day traveling from the West Coast back home to the East Coast, and you've just had it after a day of traveling, and I had locked my keys in my car, and so I had to wait in the airport parking lot for Papa Lock to come, and I'm just like dead. It was terrible.
Oh,
absolutely
God.
wrecked.
Yeah, and then so the other fun thing we did that I'd never done before was axe throwing.
Wow.
Yeah, and Chamber, you said you knew somebody that has an axe throwing range?
Yeah, my cousin actually got in pretty early with the axe throwing stuff, so he's got a place up up north that you can do that at.
When I hit it crypto rich, if I ever hit it crypto rich, I'm starting an axe throwing place because I don't know, somehow I guess I have lumberjack blood because I was really good at it. Anyway, man, hey, thanks Mr. B for joining us. So we'll have some fun today. We just want to kind of get your opinion on some markets and stuff like that, and just have a good time. So typically what we do is we started off by kind of asking you how you got into crypto, like when it was, what's your journey been like so far?
Yeah, of course. Well, my journey is not that long. It's like I think most of the people know I joined crypto in April last year, 2017. But I bought my first cryptos, like Litecoin, actually only in back in 2014. But it was like a few $100, and I forgot about it, and I went on with my studies and everything else. And then like most of the people, they saw that something was happening, and yeah, I had some leftover money. I was like pretty broke, and I had some holiday pay that I got paid out quite late because I was already on a holiday with some other money. So I decided while sitting on the beach to just buy some cheap stuff on Kraken.
Kraken.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, and I was just like totally clueless. I just saw, okay, Bitcoin, that's very expensive, so let me buy something super cheap. So I bought like loads of Ripple and loads of Ethereum Classic, like for, I don't know, like €4 or $4. So yeah, that was mostly a very lucky day to get in.
That was April.
Yeah, last April 2017. Yeah.
Wow.
So what made you buy? You mentioned you bought some Litecoin like way back in 2014. Like, what made you buy that?
Yeah, well, that was like, that was born out of a small kind of curiosity. We were just hanging out with the guys on the sofa. We were like doing nothing, like smoking and playing games.
Yep.
And yeah, back then it was mostly Bitcoin that was on the internet, like you read about it in some blogs or something. And it was just interesting to have something that your parents or some other people could not grasp the whole idea.
Yeah, sure.
So,
Mr. B, I was just gonna say I had a quick question for you. You'd mentioned that you'd taken your holiday pay to pay for this. Now I live in Canada. Things are pretty good here, but I hear things are awesome in Europe when it comes to holidays. Can you explain to my American colleagues how great the European, holiday is kind of set up as far as your work schedule?
Okay.
I've never even heard anything about this.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's that great, but in a regular day job, you get like between 20 and 30 days you can spend freely throughout the year, and besides that you get paid out almost a full extra month as a holiday pay, and it always comes in May, so when the summer is starting off, and it's actually, but you have to pay like 50% taxes. So yeah, so it's like actually half a monthly salary.
So in total, how many holidays would you say you could utilize in a year?
Yeah, so I think on average it lays around 25. Yeah.
How many you got, Bunchu?
Well, how many am I allowed to take? Because I think I get 10 days off technically, yeah. 10 paid vacation days. Plus, then you get your actual national holidays, which everybody gets. So I guess exactly. That's probably about 10.
Yeah, those add up as well. But
you guys are getting screwed because when I was working for the man professionally, I was in insurance, and I had 3 weeks of paid vacation every year.
Yeah, I have 10 days. But I'm in sales, so I have a little more lenient schedule anyway.
So do
as
I.
it is.
Yeah.
So,
No, but back then
Secret.
yeah. No, but back then I was also in sales. So yeah, you mostly had to arrange a holiday around the hunting season, so to say.
yeah.
So,
So
yeah.
it's interesting. So you said then you kind of really first got in April of 2017. Then correct? That's when you bought. That's when you bought from the beach.
Exactly. No, like literally, I bought from the beach. Like I was with my family and loads of people, with like uncles and grandmas and everything, and I was like isolating myself with my laptop, having a coffee while other people were having fun, because I wanted to make some buys, and it was like this whole hassle with deposits and stuff and getting verified and all. So, but at the time I was deciding where to put my money. That was also exactly the same day I created or just opened a Twitter account just to search for information.
I'm glad you went there because this is where I was going with it. So I also first bought my first crypto in about April of 2017. I now have 1,200 Twitter followers. and in that exact same time, Mr. Backwards is approaching 60,000 Twitter followers. So I just did the quick math on that. That's roughly 5,000 followers a month for him, and I think 2 for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
For the record, Bunchu, you have 1,300 followers, literally 7 more than me.
That's it. We're counting that ticker down. That's gonna be a contest.
Yeah.
Whatever. You guys are like 50% of the followers.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
You're nothing.
Yeah. No, that's
Talk about that, because I mean you've built an awesome following. You're a you're an influencer, definitely in the space, obviously, and so talk about that kind of journey. That's a whole different story.
Yeah, I think it's a funny story, and I think most people like who are like acting serious in the business, they don't like the story, but
well, you're in the right place here.
You are not serious at all.
No, so I was on the beach. I had like it was like $1,300 or something, and I didn't know where to spend it. So I was just looking for information, and somewhat I stumbled on Twitter. So I created an account, and I quickly found out that you can search for cash tags and look for the information you want to know about a certain coin. And then I saw, of course, those top tweets, and I saw those same guys, and it was this guy Crypto Bull.
Mm-hmm.
Like the guy with the orange bull in front of a moon.
Yep.
And he was everywhere. And I was like, okay, well, I mean, okay, he's doing something right. And so I was like analyzing how he behaved on Twitter, and then I started also looking at other accounts like Crypto Cobain and those kind of guys. And I was like, okay, I think it's nice to be part of a community.
Yeah.
And but yeah, how are you going to stand out? And that's where the luck accelerated my persistence, because the bull market came, and there were lots of other Mr. Backwards guys who were entering the market and also were looking for cash tags. And I mean, it's not. I'm not proud of it, but like if you post a Buddhist tweet or something, people like it. Yeah, that's always the harassment that people give. Yeah, you only have to tweet something bullish, and then people will follow you. And in sort of a way, that's the truth. But I really started to build like my character, and I could also say stuff on Twitter I could never say in real life.
Yeah, that's interesting. And we've heard that from a couple of people so far when we've talked to them about like being Twitter avatars versus like Cynthia, who has her real face out there.
Yeah.
Fully doxed.
Luckily.
Fully doxed.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, they're like everyone specializes in some kind of profession in in the crypto sphere, like one does charting or whatever.
Sure.
But I decided, from okay, I'm not gonna act like I'm good at something. I'm just gonna be a nut, and then maybe people like it. So and that turned out pretty good.
That's our goal here too. We're not going to act like we're good at really
We're just
anything.
gonna act
Yeah,
like
no,
it's
exactly. I mean,
things.
yeah. So
That's kind of how this whole podcast was born, right? Like you know, we're just some. Cynthia is probably definitely the most expert of all of us. So,
not even close.
me and Chamber are just a bunch of clowns. So.
no, but I mean, being a clown is all right if you are like conscious about what you're doing. And
Sure.
I was
You have to
always
embrace
raised.
the clownhood.
Yes, exactly.
Well, the worst ones are the people who aren't good that pretend they're good, and then
Yeah.
those are the guys that get all the those are the
Oh.
guys that get all the backlash
Yeah.
and all
The
the
worst.
But
Yeah.
I think that's the same with anything in life. Those same people in real life are the ones you don't want to hang out with.
Well, I think it's pretty transparent. You can kind of see right through their charade pretty quickly.
Sure.
Yeah,
Definitely.
It's so
Cool.
funny though. Speaking of avatars and everybody having a character, it's I heard, I don't know who it was, but somebody was talking about how when you go to like crypto events and you see people around and you have no idea who anybody is
yeah.
because everybody's a character and you're like, oh, you're the bull, or you're
No, that
whatever.
other bull. Yeah. That's
Oh, you are not a Bitcoin astronaut. That is, you're a 5'6" chubby dude. What's going on here? It's not at all how I pictured you.
and there's like this on CNBC, like breaking.
Yeah.
Bunch you is not.
Yeah. Bunch of
He's
not
an
actually
astronaut.
a Bitcoin astronaut.
This just in.
That's funny. So awesome, man. So that's a cool story. It's pretty awesome to see kind of what kind of following you've built in a pretty short period of time. And so now, in the true spirit of our podcast, you started somewhere right, and you hit that timing right where. I bet you where Chamber would love to go back in history and start in April of 2017.
Finally had a DeLorean.
And so, but share some of share some of your biggest REKT stories from the time you've been into crypto.
Yeah, sure. Well, like if you're talking about REKT, like losing lots of money, that never happened to me in such a big way because I always keep, since I started, with a very like strict guidelines for myself how big my initial positions could be. So like
I'm just taking notes here. Hang on one second.
I heard the paper. I heard the paper turning, and I'm like, is he doing that?
This
on
is
purpose?
not
A little bit.
financial advice, but it's also
This is
advice.
financial advice. All
It's
right.
also financially, so it might be. It's a good advice. No, okay. No, but I'm not saying I don't have my fair share of holding on to positions on the way down, like without properly looking in profits. I mean that happened too many times. But I have some other nice stories about October last year, and I would like to call them reverse REKTness. So it's like,
Cool.
yeah,
All right.
that
This
sounds
is the
funky.
first-
I like
Yeah.
I like where this is going.
Now, you know that guy Crypto Bull I just talked about?
Yeah.
He was also an advisor of altcoin exchange. That's like this decentralized exchange that's coming up quite soon. And they had like this retweet contest where you could win 1 Bitcoin. So I won the contest.
Oh, come on, man.
Yeah, I know. I felt so. I felt bad, but I won a Bitcoin, so I was actually
amazing.
quite happy because
You were
back
on
then,
REKT.
yeah, exactly. So what did I do? It was like in October, and I didn't were trading that good in a time that I had always in mind. Okay, keep your Bitcoin positions on a healthy level. So I decided to trade it all for Ripple. So I got like 1 bag of Ripple worth of 1 Bitcoin.
Nice.
Yeah,
How did that turn out?
Reverse REKT.
Yeah,
This is a reverse REKT.
and it was in October, and it was
Right.
like, I don't know, it was something. something something, and then I holded it all the way down, like somewhere in December, and I decided, okay, I lost so much now, and this is my free prize, and I felt bad. I'm gonna sell it all, and then I left. I lost half of it,
Man.
and then
All right. That's wrecked.
but that's okay.
Yeah.
That's all right because it was free. But the next week or two, Ripple took a 15x. So
Not
and
bad.
and that was my
No, that counts as wrecked. That
yeah.
is
So
wrecked.
that was my whole idea of like buying Ripple to acquire more bitcoins. And what did I do? I sold like right in front of the liftoff. I sold it all and took a loss. So that's
Yeah,
More
it's
than
really
15x.
funny you say that. It's really funny you say that because I have a very similar story that just happened to me recently. So I
I believe you announced it on the last episode too.
Well, no, hold on, that's a different story.
Another wreck.
This one is very similar to Mr. B's. So I was looking through a bunch of charts and I'm like, man, and I like Bitfinex a little bit because I can use a little leverage and get in a nice position. And there's not a lot of places where you can do alts on leverage. So I was looking at Metaverse, and Metaverse it looked like it was just bottomed out. And so I opened a Bitcoin worth of position on it, and I held it forever, and it was just not doing anything. It went up a little, down a little, up a little, down a little, and so I recently got engaged, and I was trying to not have to take money out of my pocket, so I was gonna sell some of my crypto holdings, and I sold this Metaverse bag, and it is currently literally 3 days later, it is like 6x of what it was.
Shut
and,
up.
Yeah, and the mainnet was, and I'm like, man, I held it through the mainnet launch, and I'm like, man, it still didn't do anything. And 2 days later, now it's like 5 times what it was, and I would have. So
it could have been such a great start for your marriage.
Yeah, exactly.
So if it goes wrong, you know where it went wrong.
So any family and friends that listen to this, you can give me my wedding presents in Bitcoin, please.
yeah, but those are those are stories that you missed out. So it doesn't really hurt you, but it hurts your mind. I mean,
It
I
hurts
had
your
that.
ego.
Yeah, I had the same with Verge. I had a huge bag of Verge around 2 satoshis, and I sold it all between 4 and 5.
Oh my
So
Well,
that's
these
also.
count. These are good stories.
But that's. Yeah, I mean, you cannot blame yourself in hindsight for making those decisions.
No,
But still.
definitely. That's a good story, man. So appreciate you sharing that. Actually, so you did mention that you won that Bitcoin in a giveaway, and I forgot to mention at the top of the show for our listeners, we are actually going to get the exclusive winner of Mr. B's tracksuit $60,000 or 60,000 follower giveaway. So listen here at the end of the show, and Mr. B is going to announce the winner. So we're going to do that here as well. So moving right along now, we talk about these crypto wrecks. Let the audience here kind of get to know you a little better. Give us some of your best real life wreck stories. However you may interpret that.
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, when I first I was thinking about such a story, and like the first story that came across my mind, I was like, nope, that's not going. No.
That's what you got to go with.
No,
Well, I'm not sure if you heard our episode last week.
Yeah, no. I heard some nice stories, but this is I'm not even sure if it's like. I mean, this is like a podcast that is like aired like into the international airstream, so I'm not sure if it's legal, if it's sent through. So just leave
Fair
it. But I saved another story, and it's more like it's more a more simple story, but it really busted my balls. Yeah, I'm probably gonna trigger lots of barbecue fanatics. But I make use of a gas barbecue instead of a charcoal one.
You got to go propane.
Yeah, propane. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. But then here's the story. I like got it from a friend, and I had a big party, so I needed to buy a new propane tank. So I had to replace it and also the hose that connects to the fire pit. So I was connecting the new hose with a little metal ring attached to the tank. It's like a bolt, so it has to go like righty tighty, lefty loosey. So I was like, spinning like a madman. Like, okay, why does this thing doesn't connect? So I went to the how do you the handy warehouse? How do you call that?
Hardware store, yeah.
Hardware store to buy like a brand new one. It's like, okay, I have a new one. So I went back to my garden, tried it again, turned it for 10 minutes, and it fell off again. So I went back to the store and like, this
And
one
you're like,
isn't
I was
working.
going lefty loosey. I don't understand.
Yeah, so I was going back to the store. I like, well, this one is broken. I don't know. This is something with factory default. Give me a new one, the best one that just came in. Like upgraded to a better brand of propane connectors. Headed back to my garden, to the barbecue. Didn't fit either. So then I have to drive back again. It's like only 5 minutes. Then the guy was like, "Oh, didn't you know you had to turn the other way around to connect? It's in the opposite direction for safety reasons." So I was like,
reverse righty-tighty.
exactly. So
Of course.
so and the whole story, like if I was thinking like Mr. Backwards, it would have been all right. But I was
hilarious.
just yeah. That's it's not very spicy, but I felt wrecked.
alright.
I felt wrecked.
That's pretty hilarious.
Emotionally
especially
wrecked.
especially the part about thinking like Mr. Backwards.
Yeah,
That, you know, you got to be true to yourself, man. You know.
Yeah, no, it's a character. I mean, I have to monetize its character, so it's a brand.
That's funny, man.
No.
Yeah, you should start your own brand of correct, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey propane hoses.
yeah.
That should be the brand name, righty tighty,
Absolutely.
lefty loosey. I mean, I'd buy it just for the brand name.
That would be something.
You mentioned barbecue and food. I am in a crypto soup group with Mr. B, and I gotta tell you, dude eats like a king.
Oh, really?
Oh my God, you gotta see the stuff he eats every single day. He's posting just fire food pics. So
You have to nurture your inner soul.
how do
It's
you?
very
So
important.
all right, so like give them an insight onto kind of the stuff that you're like. How are you like? You're like a foodie then. You're like straight up killing it.
Yeah, well, no, I really love like fresh products, and I mean, I lived in a frat house for like 10 years, and I just like ate
Doctor,
everything.
Mr. Backwards?
Extended stay.
Yeah. So I ate everything that was bad for me, like just a lot of greasy, fat things.
I just made
And-
sure my apartment wasn't a frat house because that's how I eat anyway.
Yeah, no. So, but no, I just like good food, and I like to go out for dinner lots of times because, yeah, that what makes me happy. I mean, I rather spend money on good food than on like a new pair of over expensive jeans, for instance. Yeah, so that's just part of. It's the easiest way for me to create happiness out of nothing.
Me too. I'm hungry now. Awesome, man. So, yeah, that's a good story. And so this is the part of the podcast where we get into some of the weekly news. Chamber, you want to start us off this week?
I sure do. So this is actually some pretty fresh news. I think it came out a couple hours.
News. We need like a
Absolutely.
fresh news drop.
Yeah, I don't know how to do that.
I'll work on it. We were just
right.
talking about on the show that we need some soundboards.
We do need some sound effects for sure. So OneChain just launched their 2.0, which is now featuring interoperability with Ethereum.
Oh, that's interesting.
Very interesting. So basically, you can deploy distributed contracts within the One ecosystem and the Ethereum ecosystem. You can deploy ICOs on both that are interchangeable, and then you can also deploy debit and credit contracts. So I think that's the first mainstream one that I've heard that you're able to do that with. I'm probably wrong, but off the top of my head, that's the only one I think But that's big news for Juan. Obviously, I hold a bag of Juan, and it did absolutely nothing on the news. So just
Really?
the world we live in right now.
I was just about to say, Chamber, you must have a bag of wand over
I
how excited
do
about this
have-
you are.
I know. I was so happy. I'm like, why are you releasing this now? Why can't we wait for a bull run?
Wait, it didn't do anything on that news? Because that's big
Let me
news.
check.
That's
big
huge
news.
Yeah, I have
news.
one.
Nothing. It did nothing.
Wait, Mr. B has some wand too?
Yeah, I was just looking because like so many bags, and then it's not a very big bag, but I have some one, so happy to join you guys in your journey.
mine-
Well, you know what? I didn't know anything about this until you brought it up before the show, Chamber. So I don't know. Maybe it just hasn't circulated enough for people to hear about it. I don't know.
Anyway,
Oh, good,
I'm
then
down,
you're-
I'm down 11% today on Juan.
on that really
Yeah.
awesome wand news. Well, I'm just glad I'm not the only wand that doesn't have a bag.
But
Thank you. That's it. I'm out. You guys can do the rest of the show without
Leaving
me.
on a high note.
he'll
Yep.
be here all night, folks.
But that's really interesting. The interoperability thing is, I think, going to be what kind of is going to lead to some mass adoption stuff. And
Absolutely.
I mean, that's one of the biggest things that it keeps right now. It's the biggest thing keeping everything down, in my opinion. Is like you need a coin for everything, a token for everything, and there's no way to
Yes.
switch and all this stuff. And it's
Yes.
just like if people can figure that out, then I think we'd be in some pretty good shape there.
Well,
but-
I think Juan is also kind of, I forget what it's called off the top of my head, but there's a big push by China to have basically business dealings throughout the
What happened, guys?
eastern the eastern part of Europe and through Asia. There's a name for it, I can't think of it, but I believe Juan's a part of that with China and Korea to get kind of more streamlined business throughout that part of the world.
Interesting. Yeah, that's an interesting story. I hope your wand recovers there. Though.
I hope it does too.
I mean,
pretty big bag.
Let's put it this way: I don't think it's because of that news that it's dropping.
I don't think so either.
Everything's getting its butt kicked today, alt-wise. So, especially Ethereum. Ethereum looks like it's dying right this second.
It's on life
so,
support.
Yeah. Anyway, awesome. That's
what is
that's.
Ethereum at? Let me look.
It was not well. The Bitcoin pair was down pretty significantly. So
Oh shit! USD is at 450.
yeah. So today is what's today? Monday the
23rd.
23rd. So the USD pair right now I see 448, and then the Bitcoin pair is at 0.058. So pretty heavy. Like
Almost
everything
6%.
on my alts, like trackers that I'm tracking is down, but
Well,
Bitcoin
that's
is up
because
5.
Bitcoin's running. Yeah.
Bitcoin's up 5%. So it's interesting, but awesome.
Big Daddy's gonna run.
Yes, they call you Big Daddy. Is that
No, I don't.
I love
Not
it when you
yet.
call me Big Pop.
Pop. Awesome, Cynthia. What do you got for us?
What do I have for you? I have India for you. India's central bank has called for the regulation of cryptocurrency only a matter of weeks after a banking ban against crypto companies. So
Interesting.
they did a little U-turn, which is interesting.
The
sure.
that's what we call the Mr. Backwards.
There you go. Oh, it's perfectly fitting. Perfectly fitting. They
That's
pulled the Mr.
interesting.
Backwards.
Well, I mean, but I wonder why that is. Chamber, do you have any idea why they first said no and now said yes?
I think a lot of these big countries are kind of doing that, where it's kind of this knee-jerk reaction. Late 2017, early 2018, Bitcoin's this huge run. It's destroying everything. So I think a lot of big countries are scared of it, and made a knee-jerk reaction. And now I think they're coming to their senses a little bit more. It happened with China, it happened with Korea, now it's happened with India. Hasn't happened in North America too much. I think both the U.S. and Canada have been pretty good about it. But I think it's just a lot of countries kind of getting on the same page and seeing how important blockchain and this kind of technology is going to be.
Yeah, I gotta say, I mean, there's some things like ICOs that are kind of gray area here in the U.S., obviously, but I think for the most part, I'm pretty happy with what's being done as far as regulation. I mean, there needs to be there's got to be some kind of happy medium to not stifle all this awesome innovation and things like that we're experiencing, because it is pretty, significant technology, but it's also, I see why they're doing this from like a protected investor standpoint, because that goes right into my news story, which is that hold on, where's this coming? Oh, Australia. So we have some friends in Australia that I know. It is now the second most common scam are cryptocurrency scams. So over a 12-month period, they are now the second most common kind of investing scam in the country. So they're up 126% spike in Bitcoin-related scams in Australia. So, I think that's part of kind of what I'm saying is, there needs to be some kind of regulation to try to avoid things like this, but without stifling the pretty awesome, new technology that we're seeing. They said they received 1,300 complaints related to cryptocurrency scams, and it's over $1.2 million. That's not too much. Come on, suck it up, guys.
Just $1 million.
Come on, $1.2 million over 12 months. That's nothing. Anyway, cool. Mr. B, you got one for us?
Yeah. So my story today. I mean, it's really nice to be an anchorman for once. But yeah, I mean, it's like, have you seen that movie with Will Ferrell? I mean, so that's great. So today, folks, we have something about cloud mining service. The Hashflare disables Bitcoin mining contracts, shuts down. Doesn't look that good. So what happened? It's a bit shysty. They had like, in their terms there was like this passage that if their BTC mining is not profitable due to hardware or price or whatever, the company Hashflare can terminate the whole service.
Boy.
I mean, like for a business point of view, you could understand, okay, if it's not profitable, then you should not continue it. But the weird thing is if you have some money left over there, or you have like deposited some funds to run your contracts, that's something that hasn't been handled quite well. So
I think that's the big problem with these cloud mining companies is, I mean, they can just pack up shop whenever they want with everybody's money, and
I believe that's why Walken always says, "Do not do cloud mining." That's one of the things that I learned from him. I had no clue.
Well, I do mining myself. Like I just or like renting mining rigs, but that's just like, okay, I'm gonna rent this mining rig for like 2 hours, and I'm gonna mine some unknown coin with it. And if the miner decides to shut down his rig, then I will get my Bitcoin back. So that's very safe way.
Exactly. And then this cloud mining it's so funny. Like, it's super scammy to me. Like, I had a buddy who doesn't really know what he's doing, and I don't know how he's prone to this all the time, but like, he just gets himself involved in these like multi-level marketing schemes. And
are you talking about me right now?
I'm asking for a friend. He sends me, he sent me, I don't know, this is probably like 2 months back or so. He sent me this like sales deck for this cloud mining company. And he's like, dude, this looks awesome. And like, what do you think about this? Should I do it? And I'm like, no. And so, there's definitely, there's a difference between, obviously what Mr. B just said, where you're renting rigs and stuff like that. But whenever you have to, send 1 ETH to get 5 back, and cloud mining and all that kind of stuff, it's definitely some shady shit.
I do have a confession to make.
Oh, you've cloud mined?
So no, I haven't. Not because the opportunity hasn't
You're like,
presented
not
itself.
today. Not today.
Yeah, not
I
yet.
haven't.
So we all know that I was introduced to crypto via BitConnect, which I didn't
Yes.
participate, which I didn't participate in, but I did participate in something that I saw as better than BitConnect, as far as more.
The next BitConnect.
The next BitConnect, but more. It was presented as a more realistic BitConnect.
Carlos Matos' True Vision.
Yeah,
What's
exactly.
What's the name of this project? I might have been an advisor. So.
Cash.
It was called USI Tech, and the tech really. That's what sold me on. I'm like, ooh, it's
Right,
technical,
it's called
so it's
tech.
quite good.
I don't understand it. Let's do it.
Exactly. So it was literally, I think, the first thing I purchased in after I bought my first Bitcoin. But
I've never heard of this at all.
so it's a European
Me
one. So that again, anything in Europe,
it's
I'm like, I'm down. I'm
European.
like, yeah,
It must
exactly.
be
It's
legit.
classy.
Just like Mr. B.
Classy.
Absolutely. So with BitConnect, you would give your BTC, and then you would get, I think you'd get their coin or something like that. It was weird.
BitConnect coin back.
Right.
Yeah.
So, which seems super suspicious. With this one, you would pay Bitcoin, and you would get back Bitcoin, and it would pay you back. I think basically you get 40% back on your return over the course of like 140 days or something.
Oh,
like
that's
that.
so
Yeah.
Which
shady.
totally
That's
made sense, right?
Hey, let me introduce you to my
wait.
friend Ponzi.
Yeah. So
Yeah, but
I don't know. I don't know if I missed all the Ponzi's, but I didn't really know what a Ponzi was. Yeah, I've heard of Enron and stuff like that, but I've never been presented one before. So I think a lot of people maybe were in my shoes too. Like I know.
Oh
the
no,
word,
definitely. Yeah.
No,
I know the
because-
word
yeah.
Ponzi, but I didn't know what it was, and what really gave me what really kind of made me nervous about this company is one night my wife and I were watching Netflix, and there's a movie with Jack Black on Netflix called, I want to say it's called King of Polka or the Polka King or something like this. And it was about this guy that ran a Ponzi scheme in northern Pennsylvania. And I'm like,
you're
this,
like, that's
this is
exactly
exactly
what it
what's
is.
happening.
Sounds like this European company.
I'm like, I have to get out of this immediately.
Well, then if you're watching Netflix, then you should also try the documentary "Betting on Zero." It's about
really?
it's about this guy who takes a huge short worth billions on Herbalife, also a Ponzi
Oh,
scheme.
yes.
No.
Yeah,
I've heard about this. I haven't watched it yet.
Herbalife, no
but
way.
yeah,
Not good?
but the Herbalife is exactly the same as BitConnect. Only,
Yes.
only, famous
Well,
sport
it's
people.
quote-unquote multi-level marketing.
Really?
It is exactly the
It's,
same, but it is listed on the Nasdaq or Dow Jones.
Yep.
So it's all regulated and it's okay, and they sorry, we're gonna change our business scheme a little bit so it passes through, but it's exactly the same. Actually, that Carlos Matteo guy, after BitConnect crashed, he started. Maybe he was trolling, but he was promoting Herbalife as he was selling Herbalife. Yeah, but he knew.
Hey.
Yeah. hey.
No, it's herb.
Herb. Herbalife. The herb is not what no longer how it used to be.
No. Such a character. No, but you got to give him credit for something because he is good in what he does.
Dude can hustle, man. Hell yeah. He almost got all Chambers' money.
Almost. So
So
close.
Chamber, before we get to the actual rec test with Mr. B, I'm gonna give you your rec test here. Now having watched that documentary,
Yes.
Can you tell the listeners, because you said people still may not know, tell the listeners what a Ponzi scheme is and how it works and how to
All
look
right.
to avoid one.
So anytime a company says they're going to guarantee you a return, regardless of the percentage, whether it's I guarantee you 10% or I guarantee you 150%, that is a Ponzi scheme. No one can guarantee you any returns. This is a public service announcement.
But they can do that because what they're doing is taking that one, say, they're taking one Bitcoin from you, and then they're going to pay the 10% out that they guaranteed to everybody else from
Right.
your Bitcoin, and then they all work by getting all these new users in because
Absolutely.
they're taking all this Bitcoin
And
in and
using
paying
their
small
So I mean,
percentages out.
I guess if you want to get into the Ponzi, you want to get into it early.
You
It's
got to be
true,
on the bottom
though.
floor.
Yeah.
I've been involved with a couple MLM companies back in my very young adult days, and that's if you're one of the early people that gets in, you're made. But other than that, it's just playing on people's, desire to be
Greater
wealthy,
it was.
get rich
yeah.
I mean,
quick.
speaking for myself, it
whole-
was 100% greed. I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
Bitcoin's going through the
absolutely.
roof. I can
Yeah.
give people my Bitcoin and get
And that's
more
what's
Bitcoin.
scary. I mean, it kind of goes back to that same news story that I just did too. I'm glad it all kind of ties in, but it's like, that's how these people lose all their money. And then the problem with that is you invest one Bitcoin or whatever,
Yeah.
and then their cloud mining thing is no longer profitable, meaning they're not taking in any new people, and they can't pay out the guarantees that they did,
Exactly.
and then they just
that's
fold
horrible.
up shop. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's how. So. That's how you don't get wrecked, ladies and gentlemen. This podcast will teach you something today.
I'm out here on the streets taking my
Oh, but
lumps for you guys.
Can I chip in for 1 sec, because it's
Yes.
very very interesting. Like, I had some quite some accusations about masternode projects with very high ROIs. I was
Sure.
like promoting. Either way, I was advising, so I got compensated or what else. So what you say in a Ponzi, they guarantee you a certain profit, and I think lots of people, they mix it up with masternodes. They also guarantee a profit. They guarantee that your masternode generates these amount of coins, and that's very true. That's very true. The only thing that's not certain is what those coins will be will be worth. So I think lots of people are like misjudging masternodes. Like, okay, that's a Ponzi because you are giving out high percentages, but those percentages are correct. They're not being paid with other guys' money. It's just
Right.
how
Right.
the blockchain is structured. The only thing is, like, whether a project succeeds and keeps its value of the coin. Yeah, that determines how much you get back. And sometimes, projects.
Say that last part again.
You mean there's a guaranteed ROI structure, like for Dash or for Zcoin or for like those very low market cap shitcoins,
Mm-hmm.
so to say. And people stare at them like, okay, I'm getting like my investment back in 2 days or like
Yep.
in a week,
Mhm.
and that's very true if the price is exactly the same in 2 weeks. But if the price may differ, then it gets a different story. So that's just a little side note I want to.
Yeah, I think that's pretty interesting because, quite honestly, I wasn't too sure how masternodes worked, and I haven't dabbled in them very much either. So I think that's a really, really good point for sure. So Chamber, want to get to the REKT test?
I sure do.
Okay, good. You're live and in color.
All right. So, Mr. B,
Yeah.
this REKT test. This is kind of determining how well you're situated for the next bull run. We want to make sure you're not going to get wrecked next time. We want to make sure you're selling the tops and not selling the bottoms. So I'm going to ask you 5 questions, and you just answer as to the best of your ability. Okay.
I'm ready.
All right. Question number 1: is your portfolio currently more than 65% alts?
Yes.
Okay, wait. Before you keep going, ask him the other two, like the other levels that we've had
All
before.
right.
Because the only reason I say that is because we've had to adjust this percentage because you're actually the first person that's ever said yes to this question because we started at what did we start at, Chamber?
So we started at 85. Are you
Okay,
more than
well-
85 by chance?
Yeah. No, I can tell you exactly how much of my total portfolio is in Bitcoin. That's,
Uh-oh, it sounds like 0.
No. It's 10.90%. So
Wow.
11%. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
All right.
But
All
but
right.
I have to say, I have over 70 positions.
Holy
So
That's
so like
more
if
than
you,
me.
so like if yeah, but that makes it a bit like you can, how do you say it makes it
Diversified, yeah.
yeah, but I mean, if you have like 5 positions and I tell you I only have 10% in Bitcoin, then it sounds
It's much more risky.
Right.
Sure.
yeah. So I'm just gonna say 10% is still like a lot.
Comparatively,
Yeah.
right? When you
Yeah,
have 70
yeah.
bags, it's
Yeah.
it's a lot compared to your
I mean,
other bags.
yeah,
That's,
I mean,
that's
it's
a very
my-
good point.
It's my largest position actually.
So
what
that,
would be
yeah,
your
so then that's
what
a
would be
good
your
point.
number two? What would be your number two percentage wise?
My number 2 is Ethereum Classic.
Yes.
And what percentage would that be?
That's if I round it off, it's 7%.
Wow.
Okay.
All right. So I'm glad you said that because I'm mining Ethereum Classic right now. So
Yeah.
I'm building myself a nice little bag for that for when it hits.
Yeah, I think
hits Coinbase.
I think like recently when or maybe we should save it for later if you want to finish your
Yeah,
list.
we'll go through this first because we'll ask
Cool.
you some of those other things later.
So number two is a two-part question. Part A, do you use
It's a
BitMEX?
two-part question. Part A.
Yeah. Part A, do you use BitMEX?
I used to.
Okay.
I got wrecked multiple times over there. Yeah, and I was actually getting some advice from my I would call him internet friend Crypto Mask, great guy, and he gave me some real good tips, and he made me see that I was using BitMEX for the wrong reasons.
I see.
That I could put my energy and most important Bitcoin far better in just spot trading, since I mean you cannot lose a Bitcoin if you just bought it. I mean, but you can lose it when you're trading on BitMEX.
That's a really good point. And
yeah.
but while you're there, I think I saw a tweet from you today about something very similar. Like you had the conversation with a buddy about something similar to that.
That
You
was
want
the
to talk
barbecue
about that
yesterday.
because I think that was a really good tweet.
Yeah, no, that was like actually yesterday, and I was invited, and I hadn't seen him for like a couple of months, and of course he knew I was like active in the crypto space and stuff, and he was he couldn't quite grasp like what Bitcoin was about, because we were talking about all kind of complot theories and Bilderberg things and stuff. It was like a whole late night discussion. So I just told him like the very basic principles, and he was like, yeah, but what if the maker of Bitcoin or the maker of Bitcoin just print like extra Bitcoins? So and I made him clear like that it isn't
That's
possible.
how it works.
Yeah, but it's a very logical question if you are used to fiat and other
Very
stuff.
true.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So then I just explained him how it is structured in the code, and then he just responded. So okay, so it's actually like gold but better. And so if I hear your question that it's never gonna be more than 21 million, then it would seem smart to invest in it for the long term instead of buying Bitcoin now to obtain that car on Christmas. Yeah,
Exactly.
So,
Right.
Yeah.
so yeah, definitely.
So that the reason I thought of that was because when you just said, "Hey, maybe I'm using BitMEX for the wrong reasons," it's exactly kind of the same principle there.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think BitMEX is. If I'm ever getting back into BitMEX, it would be more of a hedging tool. Like if I think the whole market goes south, then just to hedge my regular positions or something like that. But for now, I'd rather stay away, because if I think back about how many Bitcoin I lost on BitMEX, that's
I feel like honestly, BitMEX and REKT go together like peanut butter and jelly.
yeah.
Like if I think of BitMEX, I think of REKT. BitMEX, REKT.
Yeah, no,
Handle?
exactly.
Peanut butter and jelly, BitMEX and REKT.
Exactly. It's a terrible but very true combination. You have to. It takes a lot of stress also, and so
Absolutely.
and I don't have the time all day long to stay behind my screen. So only if I have that time, then I would reconsider to.
Yeah, you definitely have to have the time to be able to just sit there and stare at your screen.
Yeah, I mean, I had so many dinners. Like, then I went for a dinner, a very, very nice dinner we had planned for months, and I had a nice long open, and I got liquidated like at at the starter or something. So I'm like
Totally ruins your night.
yeah, REKT. Yeah. So well.
That was that happened to me this weekend. Last week on the show, I announced that I bought some Ripple and I had a leveraged position open, and then I went on this bachelor party thinking, okay, I'll be all right. And so
Dun, dun,
I
dun.
and you know I have the alerts on that say, hey, your position is nearing liquidation, which is really just Bitfinex saying, hey, come put some more money here. Hey,
Exactly.
come cover yourself. Come cover yourself. And then, but as the weekend went on, I found myself being comforted by getting those emails every 10 minutes because I knew that my position was still open.
Yep.
And it wasn't until I stopped getting them at all that I felt sad. Because I knew that I was liquidated and I was never going to see that money ever again.
Yeah, no, that's crazy.
That screenshot that you posted on Twitter was hilarious with all your emails.
I just called to say I love you with all the emails. All right, keep going, Chamber.
All right, question number 3. Mr. B, do you currently own either Verge or Tron?
I do not own Verge. None.
Okay.
I'm not planning to. And I do own a small bag of Tron.
Okay.
I actually, the last bull run,
Yes.
I made like quite a killing on Tron because I bought it around the 10 sets level.
Oh man.
But I really have to give a shout out to crypto banger. We were chatting there back then, and he was just talking about what's going on, and he's have a look. And I just read an article, and it was like about that Forbes article with Jack Ma, and I was like, okay, that's 10 sets, so okay, I'll just buy a bunch, and it turned out great. So I had my fair share of luck with that coin already, so I just kept a small position, but it's way less than 1% of my total portfolio.
Okay.
Yeah, I need to note that everybody that answers this question does not hold Tron or Verge for like the long term. It's to get more Bitcoin. Nobody
Right.
because they believe in the project. It's always just to get more.
Yeah,
Bitcoin.
no, exactly. That's no, exactly. But I think that also goes for stocks, or if you like investing in commodities. I mean, who believes in oil? I mean, what's it's like dark and it's sticky. It's
Gross.
yeah, it's gross.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it makes
oil's
but
so gross.
it makes you more dollars. So yeah, if you want to have one
Exactly.
more dollars,
I'm
if you want to
a
have more
fan of
Bitcoin.
biotech stocks. I actually still trade traditional stocks, and biotech stocks are where it's at. Just a little side note.
Financial advice.
Noted.
That is not.
I think it was.
Cynthia, that was
Financial advice,
proper
but I'm not
financial
allowed to give you
advice.
Financial advice. Biotech stocks are where it's at.
All right, question number 4, Mr. B. Do you
Yeah.
own a hardware wallet?
Yes, I own several. Yeah,
Oh, good. Several. These people are really flossing on me with their several
There's
hardware wallets.
Oh yeah.
Versus
Well,
your one paper weight.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. Well, but it was back in the days, or like, look at me, back in the days.
Back in the day,
Back
11
in
months
the-
ago.
Let me tell you, children, back in the days, you could only fit 5 wallets on one hardware.
Well, you age. It's like dog years in crypto.
Yeah.
Like 1
No, but
year
it's
in
true.
the real world is
Yeah.
7 years in crypto world.
No, but like since the last update, you were actually you could only had 5 wallets on one ledger.
Yeah.
So that's the reason I bought an extra one and another one. So yeah, but that is my go-to hardware wallet, and they recently released a pretty nice interface application. It's called like, what's the name? It's called Ledger Live, and it's actually more like this exchange.
Oh, I saw that. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
really cool.
So it's
Yeah.
great, and you can also like check your holdings without connecting your.
Yeah.
That's the best
your
part
thing.
because
Yeah.
because then you don't have to take it off there. You don't have to move it. It's really
Yeah.
really cool.
No,
Yeah.
exactly. So that's actually my weekly routine is to go through all my positions and check on what positions I'm in profit, and then scalp, even if it's like 0.001 Bitcoin, take it off and send it to my ledger, and just save it for a rainy day.
There you go.
All right.
Yeah.
Question number 5. Last question. Mr. Backwards, is Cryptopia in your top 3 favorite exchanges?
All right, let me quickly check my. I'm using this 2FA application, and it's on my second on the list. Cryptopia.
Oh,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah,
There you go.
yeah, no, definitely.
All right.
Yeah,
That's a good way to gauge that. It's whatever's
That's
at
a
the
good
top
way.
of your
Yeah,
2FA is number
absolutely.
one.
Yeah.
About that.
yeah. No, it's actually it's like on top of it is like BitMEX, but it's because but it's like from back in the days because I had to get it quick. You know that,
Right.
I still
Well,
love it.
didn't Cryptopia just release 2FA? I remember I had like a 5-digit password
no.
before.
No, they have it for ages now.
Have they? Oh,
Yeah,
I must have
yeah.
just got it myself.
Okay, maybe you should apply that to your account, Chamber.
Yeah, I have it now. I feel like I just got it though.
Yeah,
You might want to double check that link you're using.
No, maybe.
definitely.
Yeah.
No, but it's a crazy list. Like the amount of account of exchange accounts I collected. It's too much. But it's like you. I once tweeted a picture of like this super long iPhone, like this meme, like
I saw that.
yeah. So like I need it for my new whenever if I keep adding a new exchange every week for the shitcoin that only releases there for whatever reason. Yeah.
How'd you
Okay,
do?
so well, let's see here. Number 1, you answered yes. That was over 65% alts. Number 2, you did use BitMEX, but you don't use anymore. 3, you don't.
Wait, no. I call bull on that because BitMEX is his number 1 on 2FA.
Right,
Well,
exactly.
that could be, that's a
Good point.
possibility. Hey,
I
all
believe
right.
you there, Mr. Backwards.
Do you own Vergetron? Yes, on the Tron.
Oh my God, he's
and
got
temporarily on the
100%.
Verge. He does own a
REKT.
he does own a hardware wallet, so that redeems him.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Couple,
Cryptopia
so.
is in his top 3 favorites. So you're we're in the same boat there, Mr. Backwards. So you're giving me a
Yes.
lot of hope right now. That
Yeah,
I one day
that
can
should make
be,
you feel good,
Oh,
Chamber, because
This is the best one yet for me.
Yeah,
I feel so
because
safe right now. I'm so.
Well, he said, he did say at the beginning of the show he has never been really wrecked as far as losing a lot of money. Yet he answered all those questions, so that should give you hope, Chamber, that with the right
Yeah.
position management and all of that good stuff,
Yeah.
that you can be safe.
I'm turning
Yeah,
on
but-
words
but-
for Mr. Backwards tweets now.
Well, oh, please don't. No, but I mean, I had like I was actually wrecked almost one time. It was, I don't remember when it was, but it was like on a Friday, where the market, it was last year, and the market just crashed. Like, as far as I remember, I lost like, well, maybe 75% of my total value in one day.
Oh my
It was
God.
it was crazy, and
That'll do
I,
it.
yeah, and I knew why it happened if I talk about it right now, because I was in this chat, in this WhatsApp group with some friends, and all those guys, they were seeing the Bitcoin bull coming, and they were like, okay, we're gonna exit all alts and go in Bitcoin. But I was like so stubborn. I was like, no, I'm not going in Bitcoin, because I was the biggest Bitcoin minimalist. I was like, I don't want to have any Bitcoin, because
Right.
yeah, look at all those cheap coins. Maybe they want to become the next Bitcoin. So I just kept
Right.
all my positions. So I had to experience a huge drop. But after that, I took a giant leap ahead of those other guys, because they didn't know when to re-enter their alt positions, and I was full 100% in alts, and then the shit went crazy. So I was then
Right.
the big monkey on the rock. So that's so
The
so.
big monkey on the rock.
I'm
So-
probably gonna use that.
I need
Yes.
that on a T-shirt.
So it actually, my success, it was born out of maybe a bit of stupidity combined with some ballsiness, but it also later on I also took parts of their strategy to definitely always keep a very big portion of my portfolio in Bitcoin.
Born from the ashes of REKT, Mr. Backwards. Awesome, man. Well, that's great. So next part of our show here, we let you pick, 3 projects, coins that you're interested in and look at. So, and let the audience kind of know what those are. And we're gonna track your progress on those over the next couple months.
Okay. All right. So you want to have my 3 picks?
Yep.
Okay. Well, first of all, it's most of these coins are very hated. And the first
they feel gross. They feel like oil.
Exactly. And the first one is very degenerate. It's Z Classic, ZCL.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, definitely. And I bought Z Classic between $1 and $3 last year, and I kept it back forever. And then there was the whole Bitcoin private pump. So this was okay, we're gonna fork Zcoin Classic, and you get for every Zcoin Classic you will get 1 Bitcoin private, and it was also for every Bitcoin you could also get 1 Bitcoin private. So it was a very cheap deal to get Zcoin Classic if you wanted to have the forked coin. And well, of course, everyone could see it coming. Z Classic dumped immediately after the snapshot. Myself, I played it 50-50. 50% I just sold before snapshot, and the other part I just kept, because you never know. You never know. Maybe it was Bcash or something. You never know what happens with the forked coin. So, and now they are gonna fork it again somewhere in August, September, into Bitcoin Anonymous. I mean, you can laugh about it, but if it recreates such a pump,
that pump was crazy.
Exactly. And one guy, that guy from CNBC that ran Neuer. I mean, I'm not a huge fan, to be honest. But if I check Anonymous Bitcoin, the website, real quick, he is on the team page, as an advisor, and he is presenting crypto trader and CNBC. So, I mean, he's not an advisor just for fun. He is going to use his influence on television to plug this coin.
Chamber? You got this one?
I see him taking notes.
Yeah. So I mean, you cannot never be sure if it happens again. But I made sure I have a bag of Z Classic, in case it does.
Awesome.
So that's the first one.
Yep.
The second one was we talked before was Ethereum Classic.
Yep.
And last year in the bull run, people were quite early with the whole meme of the flippening between Ethereum and Ethereum Classic. It was okay, maybe from a technical point of view or an ethical point of view, they were right in my view. But now, when Ethereum is getting quite a big of a hit.
Sure, literally, right this second.
Especially with the Coinbase news of Ethereum Classic.
Exactly, because I mean, all these coins, also the next one, but also Z Classic, I think that coin will get a lot of media attention on television. And the same went on for Ethereum Classic with Barry.
He was on
Barry
the other
Silver.
day. Yeah.
And I actually have the screenshot here. It's his second biggest position of his digital currency group's portfolio. It's 50%.
So I know exactly what you're talking about. I saw this the other day. Aren't all of those projects he advises on though?
Yeah.
So, but his second biggest one is that one. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I mean, it doesn't matter to me if he's advising or what. But I do know, if I look in Barry's eyes, I can see he loves money. So he He wants this to succeed. I mean, he was openly talking about, even with a whole pie chart on fast money, this is my second biggest. So his whole credibility of his fund and the future of his whole company relies on a good pump of Ethereum Classic. And I'm going to be there.
Me too. That's why I'm mining it. Awesome. What's your third, buddy?
That's Digibyte.
Ooh, interesting.
That's a good
Yeah,
one.
yeah, Digibyte. I didn't mention it in my introduction, but Digibyte was actually the first coin that gave me like this hard driving pump, because I bought in at 90 sets at the time, around something like that.
Wow.
And then it made this run to over 2,000 or something. I didn't sell the top, but good enough. But it's a very old coin. It's a mineable coin, and their tech is like this Digi Shield that is also used in Zcash's technology.
Is that where it's like, I was listening to a podcast that they were on where he was talking about how their blockchain is kind of split up into 5 separate parts, so they can't be 51% attacked ever.
Exactly.
Because,
Oh,
So
that's
they're
pretty
actually
cool.
quite far away. And what I also like from a how do you say, like the market point of view, like how the segment is, or the
Sure.
Sentiment. Yeah, the sentiment. It's like last year there was like made a lot of jokes about Digibyte, like Digibyte this, and with Minecraft, and like all the memes from it's the most fastest coin ever, because Digibyte has a quite a bit childish community. But it only
Oh, is
So,
that
takes
what it
so
is?
does the
I was
REKT
just about to
podcast.
say, the
Yeah.
people that I've seen shilling it are like crazy.
Yeah,
about
no,
Digibyte.
exactly. So that's what's lacking. But the thing is, an old project like Digibyte that withstood multiple years and multiple markets only needs one like very big news article that like
Sure.
really crushes all the critics, and then with all those community, then a all-time high wouldn't be crazy in my eyes.
You hear that, Chamber? You hear
Oh,
those
yeah.
words? You hear those words?
Everything's already market
Yeah.
bound.
Yeah.
High.
Yeah, nah, but it's definitely not financial advice. I mean, it's
No,
like
of course not.
I mean, it's
Right. It's
it
not.
has like a huge
Air
market cap.
quotes,
So,
not financial advice.
but even if I could pump it with this podcast, or we can do it, that would be quite an achievement. But it's my
we've
third
seen
position.
that before on that podcast. So, cool, man. Awesome. That's good stuff. So, pretty much that's all of our segments. So we definitely want to give you a chance to, talk about any projects that you're working on, anything like that. And then obviously we're going to announce the winner of your tracksuit. So whichever one you want to do first.
Let's give away a tracksuit. Yeah.
Awesome. Let's do
It
it.
feels right. It feels
I don't
right.
know, guys. I don't know how I didn't see this. I talk to Mr. Backwards kind of regularly on Twitter, just the occasional message about whatever's going on. And I follow him. He's in my newsfeed. I did not see the giveaway for this tracksuit, and I want this fucking
Oh,
tracksuit.
it's
I'm
like
pissed.
his.
I'm so pissed.
So if you follow Mr. B, he's like king of the giveaway. Like it's pretty awesome. So like
didn't see
for
it.
50,000 he gave away. Didn't you give away like the hotel and stuff?
Oh
like
yeah,
that?
no, definitely, yeah. It was a nice hotel, like
Mr.
the W hotel.
Backwards, look at
Dude,
you.
Yeah,
dude
and
is the
it's-
king of the giveaway.
Yeah, and
he
it's
bring-
all.
he bring-
It's,
he brings us
so
in
many
here.
followers.
he's the king of chill, and he does it all for personal gain. More followers.
In a world.
More. No, but it's really true. I mean, I actually once I just said it like, okay, guys, I'm gonna do a giveaway, but I'm gonna be totally blunt. I do it for my personal gain. I want more followers, so I have more power. And here's
Heck
a
yeah.
fucking tracksuit.
At
Yeah.
least you're honest about it.
That's
Everybody
my-
does that kind of shit for more followers. But
Exactly.
at least you come out and say it.
But the one thing I never did, I do not give away crypto, because I experienced that myself. I won crypto and I messed up, and you cannot mess up a tracksuit. Yeah, you can burn it or you can lose it, but
Have you ever seen me eat a pizza? I could definitely mess up a tracksuit.
no, but okay. Without further ado, let's continue and drop this lucky winner. I will post a screenshot as well tomorrow of this drawing system, this blockchain tech drawing system I utilized. And the winner is
it's blockchain drawing.
Cool. Like everything I do is pretty much everything is blockchain around me right here.
That's awesome.
This beer is also blockchain brewed. Sorry. His name is, I hope I pronounced right, Hieuta, and his handle is Hieuta, so it's HIEUTA 1108, and he's from Manchester, New Hampshire. I will write you a message tomorrow, I guess, and yeah, we will figure it out how this tracksuit, and we will measure it up so it fits nicely, and you can walk around like a real,
Like
what
a
did
real G.
goofball.
What was his Twitter handle again?
It's HIEUTA 1108.
Awesome. So we'll make sure that when this comes out, we get him out there as well. We'll tweet it out as
You
well.
guys cannot tag him. He's
I won't
listening
tag him.
all the way through.
I won't
the
tag him.
podcast.
I'm not going to tag him. Not till after he listens.
I will follow him now. So tomorrow he will see. Oh, someone's followed me.
Awesome, man. Well, congratulations to the winner of the tracksuit. And Mr. B, is there anything else you want to touch on? Where can people find you? Where you're going to be? Things like that.
Well, you can always find me on the interwebs. I will always be there. Like even with all the criticism, I will be there under your button. But I'm really stoked. I'm attending to my first crypto conference, so to say. So
Nice.
I'm adding. No, really, that's really
I can't believe
nice.
it's your first.
It is, yeah, but I mean, it all went so fast, and like I'm living here in Amsterdam, and yeah, you have some conferences here, but they are mostly, not that outspoken, and quite boring actually.
Well,
So which one are you going to?
which one are you going to?
I'm going to the World Crypto Conference, and it's held in Las Vegas in the Aria Hotel. And it's during the Halloween weekend, so like I'm super
be
stoked.
That's going to be awesome. That will be anything but boring. That's for sure.
No, exactly.
I'm so jealous.
No, I'm really grateful. So I'm probably meeting up with loads of people I've been chatting around with for like over a year. So that's
Cool.
also a very
That's
nice
why
experience.
I'm jealous. It's so unfair.
Yeah,
It's backwards.
yeah,
I'm going
but
to be at Voice Blockchain in Chicago at the end of August, and you should come to that one.
I was actually thinking about going to that one, but I just cannot combine it with all the other stuff I need to handle here.
Fine.
But from next year on, I'm planning to visit like all the nice, so to say, conferences, like the one in New York and the one in Miami. So that's really on my list.
Cool.
To make it a habit to hang around with you guys in real life.
Heck yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm going out to eat, and you're ordering for me. I don't care. You're going to order for me.
All right, we got
We'll
to
make
deal.
it a giveaway. A Reddit
Yeah,
podcast
sure, no,
giveaway
definitely
dinner.
monetize it. Yeah, no,
That's awesome.
no.
Cool, man. So that's awesome. Well, thanks for having, I always say that. Thanks for having us.
Well,
Thanks
thanks
for
for
coming
having
on,
me.
man. Yeah, thanks for coming on. It's
It
been
was a huge
awesome to
pleasure.
talk. Yeah, it's been awesome to talk to you. For everybody else out there, subscribe to us on iTunes and anywhere you can listen to podcasts. So we pretty much are. Follow us on Twitter at REKT_podcast and join our Telegram group. We are trying to grow the Telegram group community. We have a lot of fun in there. You can talk to us all the time about just random stuff. It's t.me/REKT_podcast. And we will leave this off where we always do with our BitMEX REKT of the week. This one is not a Bitcoin REKT, actually. I was surprised to see this one. A liquidated long on Tron. at 10
No
10
way.
million Tron contracts. 10 million Tron contracts. Dude, that is wrecked as hell.
Long on Tron. My
Anyway,
God.
yeah, one more thing. We are actually going to start doing 2 episodes a week. So we're going to do the main one with our guest, and then just the 3 of us are going to put out one just talking about other random news. We're going to do mailbag type stuff, everything like that. We want to get you guys some
Stories
more contract.
submitted in our Telegram. We
Yes,
have some
stories
awesome
submitted in our
people. I've
contact.
got to give a shout out real quick to our Telegram group. We have a little over 125 in
Yeah.
our group right now, and they are awesome. Everybody chats with some really awesome REKT stories. So
Yeah,
you guys
it's
gotta
fun.
come in there and join.
And
us.
we're gonna start doing some giveaways and stuff in true Mr. Backwards fashion, and things like that. We also have a very, 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 very cool episode for next week. We will put out a little teaser. We're not going to announce it now. The only ones that know are our Telegram group, and it's going to be pretty freaking awesome. So
Yes, it is.
we will get that out soon as a little teaser. But until next time, thanks for listening. Don't get wrecked, and that is financial advice.